Arup Dasgupta, the former Deputy Director of ISRO, is joining us. Thank you, sir, for waiting in patiently. I'd like to get in your first thoughts of what went in your mind when you watched that moment, the splashdown. Because we were here glued to our TV sets. We had our fingers crossed. We were praying. And when we watched that magnificent moment, it was so inspiring to watch Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore and the astronauts come out smiling, waving. What were your first thoughts, sir?
My first thoughts were really, what humanity has achieved. When I was a young boy, maybe about 11 years old, that was the time when the first man went into space. Yuri Gagarin. I was a schoolboy then. And since then, every launch and every return has always raised goosebumps for me. So this was no different.
Yes.
It was really wonderful to watch the entire sequence. Right from the undocking from the ISS down to the splashdown in the Gulf was really wonderful. It was a textbook activity. That was my first reaction.
Absolutely. A picture-perfect splashdown, as many would call it. But I want to ask you another question. There are many takeaways for India as well. But let's talk about the role of SpaceX's Crew Dragon for this mission. It also goes on to highlight the role of private companies in space exploration. How do you see this trend influencing, possibly could it influence ISRO's strategies? And also, when we look at collaborations in the future, can we look at something on these lines?
India is really has been using the private agencies for its activities since long. Much of the rockets and much of the hardware which goes into the satellites have been built by private industry under contract to ISRO. But now a new thing that is emerging is that the industry itself is now becoming self-sufficient in the sense that they can themselves build the rockets, they can themselves launch the rockets, and the same thing goes for the satellites. So as far as current rockets and satellites are concerned, Indian industry is well on its way to do the same thing, what ISRO had been doing so far. The new thing that is happening today, as far as ISRO is concerned, is the human space flight and the planetary exploration that is happening, starting with the moon, Mars, and now even Venus is being talked about. So these are the new things that are happening. What are the takeaways? Well, there is a lot to learn from human space flight by other countries. And the work by SpaceX on its Dragon capsule, first as a cargo carrier and then as a crew carrier, that is something that's really wonderful. And I think that much can be learned by India in many of the things that have happened there.
Yes.
And we are learning, and we are doing it also.
Absolutely. And you spoke about our upcoming, big missions, and Gaganyaan is one thing that all of us are talking about. There is a lot to learn from this very mission itself. But let's go back to what happened with the propulsion system, the malfunction of the Boeing Starliner that led to the mission's extension. Now, how critical is it for, agencies like ISRO to develop indigenous technologies to mitigate reliance on external partners and also ensure the success of such, such Big Bang missions?
Absolutely. It has to be developed from scratch, because nobody helps any other country with such critical technologies which they have developed themselves. So India has to develop this, and India has been developing it. It's not that it's something new. We have been developing the technology. We for example, now we are also developed the new the rocket engine, the NGLV engine, and it has undergone testing already. One of the things about the Gaganyaan kind of program is that you have to do a lot of testing, and you have to do a tremendous amount of, give a tremendous amount of margin, because human lives are involved. And you have to have a lot of contingency plans. And then the most important is that you have to have the astronauts trained to a T. And this is exactly what India has been doing. Okay, for the training of the astronauts, it is taking the help of a large number of agencies outside. But I remember that, when Rakesh Sharma went at that time, India did not have many of the training facilities required. But today they have. And this is exactly the kind of progress that India is making.
Yes.
It's a slow and steady, but we are going to win the race.
Yes, we are going to win the race, and because everyone talks about the era of collaboration and not competition when it comes to the space sector. Because what is the larger mission? The larger mission is the betterment of humanity. Now let's talk about the astronauts. Prolonged exposure to microgravity poses significant health risks. And how do you see, in case ISRO also is, looking at taking on such missions. So when it comes to this factor, how do you see ISRO plan to address these challenges for astronauts who are going to be embarking on these missions like the Gaganyaan?
Yeah, definitely. This has to be taken into account. And I think there is the School of Aviation Medicine, which has to update itself to to training astronauts. Health issue is definitely a very important part of a human space mission, and India is building up its capabilities towards that end.
So much, Dr. Dasgupta, for joining us this morning, and we're showing our viewers pictures of that historic splashdown. It's been a beautiful moment in space history. We have all the coverage lined up for you here on Times Now. Stay with us. Time for us to take a short commercial break.